It's a new play, world premiere, called Great Wall Story. Lloyd initially got the idea for this play by reading a short article about the original hoax that took place in Denver in 1899, wherein three newspaper men had a slow news week and decided to get together at the Oxford Bar and dream up this story that the Great Wall of China was coming down in order to have something to put on their front pages the next day. That's one of the central questions, I think, that has always happened in journalism, is how far does one go to stretch the truth in order to sell papers or, to get viewers on television or whatever it may be. The question is, how far do you sensationalize to get the attention? And at that time, the guys were paid by the column inch. So the more in-depth they could make their stories and the more adjectives and adverbs they could weave in, the better, because it added up.
Paper here was a part of a nationwide chain of newspapers.
They just ate this up because he's a walking history book. Not only did he have the history of the Post since he arrived here in Denver, but he knew most of it going back pretty far. And even in the middle of the last century, he talked about people being held at gunpoint over news incidents. And so that was very close to some of the stuff that goes on in our play.
We were the only afternoon paper in the entire country.
He's had enough careers for 5 people, spanning from his work with General Eisenhower in World War II and writing speeches for FDR, and he worked with Winston Churchill, and then arrived in America and was a very well-respected attorney in New York, and which led to him being a Broadway producer, producing over 100 Broadway shows with all kinds of theatrical luminaries, bringing the Royal Shakespeare Company to America for the first time. All these things, and as if that's not enough, then he takes over as publisher of the Denver Post. As if that's not enough, he creates the Denver Center for the Performing Arts. We did this field trip around Denver to see some of the historical sites that are mentioned in the play. And we stumbled across this plaque of the original site of the Rocky Mountain News right outside, the Denver Center here.
We did open in 1891. We are the most historic hotel in Denver.
Visited the Oxford Hotel, which is still very much, fortunately, intact as it was at that time. And then the Union Depot, or Union Station, I should say. We visited the Brown Palace. But it was interesting also for the cast to get the sense of, for instance, the distance that they traveled from Union Station to the Oxford Hotel. It's just a walk down the street, so you get a clearer idea of how the story evolved. I think it's an opportunity for people in Denver to connect to a little bit of their history and to connect to this story where this particular journalist questions his own moral decision and how he grapples with it. On top of all that, it's a fun romp.